Welcome to EX Podcasts. This is an emergency PSA episode special. We have an emergency EXP podcast special. We felt the need to do this episode. So, we here at EXP have been having a great time entertaining everyone and infuriating you, and preferably doing both. But we are glad to welcome all of our fans and haters back for another wild ride.
Yeah.
And we needed to post this ASAP, so that's why this is coming out off schedule. Today I'm here with an up-and-coming freelance cool guy, John Golden.
Freelance cool guy?
Yeah, freelance cool guy.
I have a real job.
So how are you feeling today, John?
I'm mad.
Yeah, you're mad. That's why we have you here today.
I'm pissed off.
Yeah. Yep, you're mad. You're very, very mad, and that's why we're doing this PSA.
Yes.
Now, many of you may recognize John from returning from a previous episode, but this is only his second time, so please be gentle with John.
I'll fucking fight every single goddamn one of you.
He's gonna fight you in the street. And we also have, as you might have heard, a third voice. We have, and a fourth, possibly. We have a little peanut gallery here today. We're recording in a different circumstance, so we might have a few little chuckles and comments in the background, but don't pay those too much attention. They'll just be there for your pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, guys. All right. And before we get started, I wanted to restate some of our ground rules here at EX Podcast. First of all, games are fun, so please just relax and enjoy. Secondly, it's okay to disagree. It's going to happen. Chill out, adapt or get wrecked. And finally, don't be a dink. Be rad to one another.
Don't be a dink.
Yes.
Be a dick, be a dude.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And the unspoken fourth rule, no biting.
No bite. The unspoken third
don't
rule.
bite. Don't
Third
do it.
rule. All right. So, with all that said, as you listeners may be sort of wondering, what is this all about?
What is it about, Leon?
So let's talk about our subject matter today. I want to get right into this because we have a lot to talk about. I'm getting through that intro. I'm getting into it. I'm really excited. If you can't tell,
I'm like getting mad just because you're queued up to like let me go.
Yeah, I am.
I'm like a wild dog.
You're
on
like
a leash.
a bulldog on
I'm
a
gonna
leash.
bite your face off.
Chomping in the bit.
So that subject matter is unadulterated rage. So John and I both work at a collectible store called Planet Fun.
It's great.
It's really great.
That's not. I'm not being facetious because I said I was mad earlier. It's
Yeah.
actually great.
Yeah, Planet Fun is amazing. We're lucky to be able to work there. But yeah, we're involved heavily in what you listeners may call geek and gamer culture.
Nerd culture.
Yeah, nerds. Something we have always noticed is how unaware the everyday nerd is about being the punchline of jokes and being used and stolen from. We are confused on why other people aren't enraged, so we're going to talk about this and get y'all pissed off a little bit.
A little.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little pissed.
Yeah. So, John, I know
Yeah.
you've been waiting, but would you like to start by telling everyone a little bit about why this is so frustrating?
Well, yes.
Oh, yeah? Really?
You know-
You're just like, no, I'm going to leave.
I think I could tell you. But before I get into it, like I want to kind of offer a third, like a perspective on what nerd culture is.
Yeah.
From like, I guess sort of an outside perspective, because I think that's part of the problem is like nerd culture is a thing that is like this all-encompassing blanket that like most pop culture is.
Yeah.
Like nerd culture.
Yeah.
So what nerd culture is, other than like complete fraudulence, is it's this thing that's been present since like the boom of Marvel movies and like the age of nostalgia, whenever that started. I was thinking maybe Scott Pilgrim like is sort of a good jumping off
Possibly,
point. Scott
yeah.
Pilgrim did like there was actual nostalgia in it, and I think that's how this sort of thing started. Is they're like the people that were nostalgic for like the 70s and 80s and 90s like actually came to a point where they were creating media that had some influences in it.
2006, 2007-ish.
Yeah, 2006, 2007-ish, approximately. But what's happened now in the year 2017 of our Lord is the concept of being a nerd has become like so popular that the entire idea of it is almost a parody of like what nerd actually is. Like being
Right.
nerd culture is like Loot Crate. Nerd culture is Funko Pops. There's like it's like cheap collectibles that are all encompassing things that prey on nostalgia
Yeah.
and like just reboots and remakes that like you will go see so you can be part of the culture. Like you want to be the guy that knows the most about nerd culture. Like that's what nerd culture is at its
That's
core.
what's gonna get you laid.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they think, but really it's just gonna get me mad.
Yeah, it's gonna piss off John Goldman.
Nerd culture is the idea that like
That's true. Turn those pages.
that like it's really really awesome to have the most stuff and know the most things about stuff that is nostalgic.
Right. Yeah, that's what's cool now.
Yeah, but the problem is
Nobody.
one
knows
of the
anything.
problems is I'm already getting fucking pissed about this. Basically what the problem is that like this fake sense of nostalgia exists in this weird like dick size contest of like who knows the most about the 80s. Oh my god, did you know that the Millennium Falcon used to have a round satellite dish and then it got knocked off in one of the old movies that are like still totally rad and I remember them, and now it's got a square one in episode 7. Did you know?
I didn't know. I must
Now
not
you
be a
know,
real
and it's just
gamer
like
geek.
that
boy,
sense
Landy
of
man.
like this is my fake knowledge
Right.
has completely replaced the actual concept of real nostalgia for something like
And real
truly,
knowledge.
and real knowledge. Like
Yeah.
it's like Star Wars is a great example to cite. I'm going to cite it again because this is sort of my thesis statement, is that like there's this new age of people that are like they are not nerds, they like are normal like cool kid guys, just regular people, and there's nothing wrong with that. And
Yeah.
like being a nerd isn't something that's supposed to be like exclusive and fun, but these people are having these films made for them that are nostalgic for old nerdy things that aren't necessarily like good, and they're going and drinking up this media that is just shit mostly.
Yeah.
But like under the pretense that like now they know and they feel the nostalgia for the old thing, but they don't like it. And I say Star Wars is a good example because I think I could go into it all day, but I think episode 7 is kind of a big mediocre turd.
We spent a good how many months would you say? sad
A
about
year.
that?
I lost sleep over how much I hated that movie the first time I
Yeah,
watched it.
at our store there was a mass depression for
Yes,
about a
it was not good.
full year.
But everybody that went and saw it came into our store like, did you see? It wasn't like the prequels. It was like the originals. The Millennium Falcon was there. It was so cool. But then like all these new age kids came in. And by new age kids, I mean like regular ass people. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm being an old man here, but it's like regular ass people came in and were like, I went back and watched the old ones. Man, the new one was so much better. Like the old ones aren't even really that good. And it's just like, buddy, I got bad news. If you don't like the old Star Wars movies and you think they suck and you think the new one's awesome, you don't like Star Wars. You like the new thing that has like beautiful, talented actors being squandered and just like a shitload of special effects
Yeah.
and a fake sense of nostalgia. And
Yeah.
that's like what nerd culture is.
yeah, the best thing I could say about that movie was that it was beautiful looking.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it had noises that made my ears go, wow. And it had actors that were like, whoa. And then it had a story that was like, eh?
Yeah.
Because you couldn't defend the script.
It was it was like a 2-hour movie that introduced some characters.
So yeah,
And
it was a thing.
That was it. But
Yeah.
we're not going to go into Star Wars.
yeah. We're
We're
gonna
talking
get
about like
there.
blanket everything.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Star Wars.
This is not the Star Wars one because I don't need to fight all of you right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, like-
Charge you got
Get your
none now.
get your
Oh, God.
lightsaber out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean we've got like 6 listeners to this show, so okay. So, anyways, so that's why you're so frustrated.
Yeah, because
Let's
like
start.
Well, why I'm so frustrated is because
Yeah, why are you so frustrated?
I'm so frustrated, and I know a lot, and this isn't. I feel like this is uncommon, and it makes me sound like either a huge hypocrite or a huge hipster. But I'm frustrated because like I work at Planet Fun,
Right.
which is a store that sells collectibles,
Video games, vintage comics, blah,
vintage
blah, blah.
comics, blah blah blah. And the reason I love all that stuff is because like I actually love the media, and I know it's shit, and like
right.
people will tell me it's shit and I'll be like, I understand, but like it's unique to me and I like it. Like case in point, I don't care about Star Wars that much, but I'm all about this new show I just got on DVD. It's called Red Baron. It's a 70s Japanese show, and it's
Red
basically
Baron.
an asshole in a rubber robot costume being shot with lots of Roman candles.
Yeah.
And like if I've watched 6 or 7 episodes in a row, there's like 40 episodes of this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm in my house watching this on DVDs. My girlfriend comes in, she's like, "Can we watch anything else?" And I'm like, this is what real nerd culture is. Well,
Yeah.
nerd culture's not a thing. This is what being a nerd is really like. It's like people come in, look at you, and judge you for the dumb thing that you like.
Right.
And that's what it's really about. But like, I'm in this weird position where like, I love my dumb things because I've always loved these dumb things. Like, I really like Thundercats, like, which is really stupid. It's not good. If they rebooted it, people would be like, I don't get it. Like, I think I think the reason they haven't rebooted Thundercats is because it's like too dumb. I really love Crystar, the Crystal Warrior.
Crystar. I love Crystar.
Crystar's, it's real stupid.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah,
but
it's
like,
the worst.
Yeah, but I like that. I like that this thing exists. But the problem is like me liking this dumb shit, and then like people like referencing my dumb shit and being like, "Isn't it awesome that Boba Fett is on the screen right now? It's Boba Fett. Isn't that great? Fuck, it's Boba Fett. Look at Boba Fett. I love Boba Fett." And I'm just like, I really you're making me feel like an asshole for liking this because you're just yelling it at me over and over and over again. And I think you just like that there's a guy that you know his name is Boba Fett and you're just yelling his name. And like, I think Boba Fett's a dopey asshole, and that's why I love him. I love that he just fell into a hole and got eaten and he sucks. But like, everyone else is like, horns up for Boba Fett. He's so metal. He's got like a fucking shotgun and he's awesome. I'm like, no, he isn't. Did you watch the thing? He blows. Like,
Yeah, he sucks.
yeah, but that's why you like him, because he blows. But like, people are coming up and telling me how awesome the thing that I like that's kind of dumb is, and I just feel like I'm a dipshit.
Right.
Because he has a sexy ship.
Yeah,
He
we
does
like him
have a
because he's the
sexy
best toy. That's why
Yeah,
we
he
like
is the
him.
best toy.
He's All
All right.
Mandalorian
So
would say.
let's move on because we get a lot to talk about today. So I picked out a few things that I think I see consistently working at Planet Fun or being on the internet or whatnot, talking to other people who like lame things like I do. And being big into video games and just seeing that in the video game culture as well. But let's start off with The Big Bang Theory, the TV show that has swept the nation,
Now
and
that's-
a Young Sheldon show coming out soon.
which, like, the Young Sheldon show.
Bazinga.
But don't. It's
What is The Big Bang Theory exactly?
So The Big Bang Theory, this is actually kind of like an older point. This is like a half nerd culture thing, I kind of think, because
Yeah.
like, it's a good jumping off point because they're very similar, but like one of them is very clear in its motivations and the other is capitalizing on the fact that people that are buying into nerd culture don't realize what's happening.
Right.
But The Big Bang Theory is a show about like 4 quote unquote like smart nerd guys that are like super smart, like chemists, and like they're really good at like soldering save batteries back into Super Nintendo games, and like they're just so smart and they're geniuses. But because of that, they're kind of a bunch of awkward dumb idiots. Wah! It's like it's just like 4 cartoon representations of a nerd.
Yeah.
Being fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then like the hot girl next door being like, "Oh, are you guys playing 3D chess again?" And like it's just like laugh tracks over that, like
Right.
over and over and over again. They'll be like, oh, like one of the nerds will be like, he'll slide in to the apartment like Kramer. It's a sitcom. He'll slide in and be like, "Oh my gosh, guys, there's an uncut episode of Star Trek that someone just unearthed from the vaults of YouTube where Spock's ears fell off." And they'll be like, "Ah!" And then they'll just like all like clamor over the YouTube and be like, "I hate Windows 7." And then a laugh track will play.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's a parody of like,
Do you write for Hollywood?
I could write for Hollywood, or professional wrestling,
Oh, yeah, no.
because they're basically the same level of narrative at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my first episode, I actually only watched one episode of Big Bang Theory, but I've watched a lot of trailers and whatnot just to see what I'm getting into. But the only episode that I watched was when Xbox One and PS4 were coming out, and they did an episode about like which one to get, while Sheldon, the main character, I guess, sort of, is having a conversation with his lady friend over breakfast, and he's just like he's like comparing specs, and whenever he compares specs, there was just a laugh track, and I was like.
Yeah.
That's not funny. It's just saying that the PS4 will be 500 gigabytes on release day.
Well, see, the reason they play the laugh track is Sheldon's kind of autistic, and that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, he's playing the acoustic guitar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's acoustic. If you catch
Yeah.
my drift.
Uh-huh.
No, but like that's another thing is like that's not like a thing that's mentioned, but the way they present this guy is like that's an autistic guy.
Which is also shitty to autistic people.
One, because it's like they're just like nerds are autistic. Like
Right,
that's
yeah.
sort of like
Yeah.
it's like the most popular character Sheldon is like he's autistic, but he reads comic books. So if you walk into Planet Fun and see a guy behind the counter, make sure to be like, you're like Sheldon.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Or every collectible store you ever go
or yeah,
into.
just anytime you see a guy with a Star Trek shirt on, tell him he's Sheldon.
Yeah.
Just tell him he's Sheldon.
Yep, exactly.
And he's right. I mean, he hit the nail on the head. It's like the typical nerd trope. Oh, there's no manual for social
Yeah.
interaction. Oh, I can't study
Yeah,
that.
it's like the punchline is that like nerds are not social. Now earlier I said that this was sort of like
Jumping off point.
well, it's sort of like a parallel to nerd culture, not necessarily in it, because the way this is presented, like this show is like a massive hit.
Yeah,
with
it's super
everybody's
popular.
grandma.
Yeah. I saw an ad for young Sheldon.
With grandmas, like older people.
Yeah, there's older people.
Get it and see like, oh, they're making fun of us. Thanks, asshole.
Yeah,
I saw an ad for young Sheldon in the movie theater when I was going to go watch a movie, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, and young Sheldon's extra weird because now it's like a child with autism that likes nerdy stuff with a laugh track played over it,
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah.
And
Are they actually calling the show Young Sheldon?
I think the show's
Yes.
it's actually called Young Sheldon. Yeah.
Yeah, the show is Young Sheldon.
But the big like problem with the Big Bang Theory, or the thing that's interesting about it is like this is what nerd culture is presented to be like to people that like aren't millennials and aren't buying into it. It's like haha, point and laugh at the fucking nerd. What an idiot! Like that is basically the show. It's just like people that like these things and people that are smart. This is how they act. Like
Yeah.
that's how it's presented to this older audience, like the people that watch 2.5 Men. Like these are the people that like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And they like anytime they see a guy in like a Goku shirt, they're just like, I understand this man now. So that's sort of like, first of all, that's like creating a huge divide between people that like or are invested in nerd culture or actually like nerdy things. Like it's just creating a stereotype, and that's just the worst. Now that's been going on for longer than I would say nerd culture has.
Yeah.
Is the Big Bang Theory thing?
It is. It's pretty old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I get. Yeah, it helped shaped it, and it's kind of like an introduction to the concept of like nerds being capitalized as a punchline or something that just name drops nerdy things, like being popular or fun or funny.
Right,
It's just
right.
like he said Star Trek, like he has a GameCube, like that's hilarious. It's a
Exactly.
cube that plays games. Wow, it's so cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally am on the same page as you there. So that's a good basis for like
Yeah.
how this is sort of executed into
Yeah.
the public. So the next step that I want to take on our journey is Loot Crate and pop vinyl figures.
Yes.
Something that we see a lot of at the job that we work at.
So
and
much.
when we are at the mall or like even anywhere.
Or I'm eating dinner, they're like looking in my fucking window.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just have to fucking
Yeah.
like shoot a gun out the window.
So John, tell us for anyone who might not know what a Loot Crate is or a pop vinyl, which if they've been living under a fucking rock, like
which is probably where
Found the rock
it.
right now and left the pamphlet.
Yeah.
Great, man.
Yeah, there's a loot crate underneath the rock, actually.
Yeah.
So, I'll start with the loot crate because
Rock.
I'll start with
There's
the
a
loot
Loot Crate in the
'cause
rock.
That's I think an easier.
Probably a rock themed Loot Crate.
Oh yeah, this month's theme is rock.
Yeah. God, I'm gonna talk about the Zelda Loot Crate in a minute. But go ahead.
Okay, so what a loot crate is it was actually kind of a neat idea when it started.
Yeah, I
basically
agree.
what it is you subscribe to Loot Crate subscription. You subscribe to the subscription. You know how you do?
Yeah, you subscribe to the subscription.
Yeah.
And there's a
You
bunch
pay
of
like
different
$20 a month,
kinds.
and you are mailed a box monthly. And the box has a theme, and you open it up, and it's got a bunch of nerd culture stuff in it. So what this means, what this started off as, actually, the reason I actually thought it was interesting for a minute is Loot Crate had this. The original selling point, I'm pretty sure, was we mail a box of kind of cool stuff to you that's small every month. But when you do this, you are entered in a lottery every single time, and you might get the Giga Loot Crate that actually has really cool shit in it.
Okay.
And we actually had a woman come into the store who, Planet Fun that is, who wanted to sell some of the things that she got because she got the Giga Loot Crate, and in it was like laptop
yeah.
computer and a die-cast Voltron. And
Oh
like,
my god, I was so jealous.
and
Yeah,
a-
there's a
a-
fucking diecast Voltron.
yeah,
in there.
the like biggest Death Star Lego set that exists. Like, it was actually cool stuff.
Yeah, it was super.
It was
cool.
it was a great thing, and that was sort of the jumping off point. But what it is now is it's like, even the small box initially were kind of cool. They had lots of stuff that was like, it actually kind of was interesting because it was useful for the comic book industry.
Yeah.
Because comic book artists could get an issue included in a loot crate. So like they would send you an issue, and like more people get loot crate than buy comic books that are
Right.
subscribed to a comic. So if somebody's subscribed to a loot crate and there's a comic in it, that's a great way to get the comic out. Like that's like they put like Adventure Time comics in it, which
Yeah,
is kind of
yeah,
neat. But what it's devolved into is like you get this box mailed to you that is just like shit.
It's just a box. They just shit in a box.
No, they might as well. But it's like they send you stuff that is like the quintessential concept of nerd culture.
Yeah.
It's stuff that like you would not normally buy ever if you have a functioning brain.
Yeah.
But like when you open it, you're excited for a second because it has nerd shit all over it.
Right.
Case in point, a little wooden cutout of the Joker that says "haha" on it, and also a Doctor Who spork and a ice cube mold that looks like a 20-sided die, and a Thanos Infinity Gauntlet oven mitt
that doesn't work.
that doesn't work and
Does
burns
not
your
work.
hand. That was a fun thing that happened. So
I'd
it's
like
like
to
they
also mention that everybody who has a Loot Crate subscription has about 8 million USB drives.
Oh yeah, they'll send you. It's like, look, this USB drive looks like Darth Vader. This one looks like
Game
the
of
Game of
Thrones.
Thrones sigil. Like
Yeah.
this one is a USB drive that's shaped like a different USB drive. Wow!
256 megabytes.
You can put all your
Yeah, they're
nerd
tiny.
culture movies on it that you use your digital download code. But yeah, so
Dear
basically it's just like
fucking Christ.
they email garbage to your house, or they mail garbage to your house. You open it, you're disappointed, you come to Planet Fun, and you sell it to me, and I'm pissed.
Yeah, dude. When like secondhand stores are just like Loot Crate dumping grounds, as I call them.
Yeah.
it's insane. See, even fucking
Yeah,
God
that's
is
some
mad.
fucking thunder for you, pal.
Dude, it's yeah, fucking Loot Crate, dude. It's ridiculous. And it's a way to distract people from how shitty they actually are.
Yeah.
Man, they're making a killing though. They're fucking evil geniuses.
Yeah, people are starting to figure it out though, because like I've had so many people that like come in and sell 3 boxes at once because it's got like a T-shirt with Yoshi on it, but he's like in Tron and also I'm gonna. It sounds like I'm doing a joke right now. This is a real T-shirt.
Oh yeah, the real T-shirt. Yeah, the Tron
It's Yoshi and BMO from Adventure Time in Tron fist bumping.
Yep.
T-shirts have just become mashup city for like.
Nerd culture.
It's
like 3 things combined.
The one thing that was like the worst, because that was bad, but like the only thing that was worse than that to me was the Star Wars Episode 7 shirt, but all the characters on the shirt were pop vinyls on the shirt.
Oh no, wait. What about the one that's Deadpool and he's knocking on the door of the TARDIS, but on the TARDIS's doors it says "Don't Dead Open Inside" from The Walking Dead, and zombies are coming out.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Remember
that?
that?
Was awful.
That's a
I think
real shirt.
I think I stroked out and forgot
That's
that.
a real fucking shirt. It's just like,
Yeah.
wow, look, 3 things that you know at the same time. You're part of nerd culture because you know all 3.
All right.
Wow.
Perfect.
The world is beyond fucked at that point though, because the zombies got inside of the TARDIS.
Yeah, the zombies are in the
The
TARDIS.
zombies are in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's move on to pop vinyls, because everybody that's listening to this podcast knows what the fuck a pop vinyl is.
I think pop vinyls are probably more offensive to us than everybody else. Everybody
No,
kinda-
yeah, pop vinyls. I think most people listening to this podcast that have been like on board with us so far, like, yeah, no, I see what they're going. When we talk about pop vinyls now, they're gonna be like, "Fuck you, EX Podcast."
Yeah, I have 60 pop vinyls that I paid $10 for each.
Before we get into pop vinyls, I want to talk about the fact that like we're collectors to some degrees.
Yeah.
I myself mostly collect video games, but I have statues of my characters, and I feel like as well as like cheaper toys, if you're gonna spend a lot of money on stuff, just take the stuff that you're spending the money on, save it all, and buy something amazing. Like if I bought
Yes.
pop vinyls, if I bought $200 of pop vinyls, I'd have like 10 to 15 pop vinyls depending on what I got. And it's not my sweet ass Zero Suit Samus statue that I have.
Yeah, a good point of reference for the story, I think, is or for the concept of like what Funko Pops do to people for some reason.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all. But like, there was a time we were working at Planet Fun, and we had a copy of a relatively difficult to find game that's very fun.
Project Justice.
Project Justice. It's a fighting game for
sequel to Rival Schools.
Yeah, sequel to Rival School. Is that for Dreamcast or PS1? I can't remember.
Dreamcast. Yeah.
We had a copy of it. It's a little expensive because it's tough to come by. We had like a $50 price tag on
It might be on PS1 too. I can't remember.
Is it? Yeah, I can't remember. It's been
I'll
a minute
put it in
since
the
I played
comp.
it.
Yeah. How about both in Japan? Probably
Fake
both.
gamer boys can't remember if Project Justice.
I literally played Project Justice with Nick and Jose
like 2 days ago.
Yesterday.
And you can't remember.
And I cannot. We played Rival Schools, then Project Justice.
We just game so
I
much.
can't remember which was on which.
We're such gamers.
I'm just gaming all the time.
Geeking games.
I will say a quick
nerds.
addendum to that. I just want to mention this is I totally sandbagged, which for you listeners who don't know is that like you pretend you're not good at the game, and then when they think that they're way better than you, you pick your best character and you just like true combo them to the fucking
beat
sun
the
and
shit
back.
out of them. Yeah,
it
that's a
was
fun thing to do
hilarious.
to your friends.
Yeah, they're just
They
like,
like
wait,
you
how'd
when
you
you
do
do
that combo? I was like, oh, because Hanada's my main.
Yeah.
They're like, what? You have a main?
Yeah, idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this copy of Project Justice in the store. That was a quick tangent. Project Justice is fun. We needed a break to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this
I'm
guy
gonna
comes
get
in. He's
sad
like,
again.
"Whoa, you got Project Justice?" And I was like, "Yeah, we got Project Justice. Isn't that rad?" It never turns up. It's kind of rare. He's like, "How much is it?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a little expensive. It's $50. Okay. Complete box. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. It's a
Complete
hard to
box
find
meaning
game.
the case. It's a CD.
Yeah.
Disc-based media. And he's like, "Nah, man, that's a little too expensive. Maybe next time. And then the
Fair
guy
enough.
goes and he buys 6 pop vinyls for $12 each.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Yep.
And he's like, "Yeah, I need these collectibles because they're gonna like increase in value."
It's the Beanie Babies.
They're Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
They're Beanie Babies, but forever.
Yeah. And also, there are like, okay, so you remember, if you are a little bit of an older listener, Beanie Babies, you remember the tags were a big deal, like keeping the tags in pristine condition. Funko Pops, which, by the way, which didn't end up mattering, but Funko Pops have the same thing where they'll release the same exact identical fucking figure, but at like San Diego Comic-Con.
And I'll have a sticker that says like, "You got this here, idiot."
Yeah, and they put a sticker on the box, and it turns, we had a Han Solo pop at one point.
Yeah, from like the Star Wars celebration in Disney, like 2017.
Yeah, and it was like, but it was the same pop you could get at Walmart, but with like a sticker on the front, and because of the sticker, it was like what, like $70?
That one was $45.
45.
Yeah, I sold it for $35 because the guy bought a $650 rare ass fucking collectible like an adult.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what?
Megatron.
He's like, "Can you give me a discount on this?" And I was like, "Not on the world's rarest thing that you're buying, but I'll take like $15 off that shitty Funko Pop." He's like, "Yeah, my wife wants it." I'm like, "Yeah, but your wife fucking wants it."
Yeah. but yeah, no. So Funko Pops are awful. They're like they're a really good example of like preying on people who want to be part of nerd culture.
Because like I'd like to state, just like as a jumping off point, because I feel like if you're this deep, like you might be kind of mad at us because it kind of sounds like we're saying like we're real nerds, you're not real nerds,
Right.
and that's not what we're trying to say.
No.
Because like back in the day, I feel so old for saying that, but like being a nerd is not like, it didn't used to be something that was like fun. You like didn't want to be that. Like you wanted to be cool. I know this is a very alien concept.
Yeah.
Because most people haven't actually watched the 80s movies you love so much, where you can see some great
Watch
evidence
people
of that.
talk about it on YouTube.
Yeah, just watch some people talk
Or
about it.
listen to
on
people
YouTube.
do podcasts
But,
like us.
Like nerdy stuff. What it is it's like stuff that's kind of dopey that you like, right? I talked about this earlier with Red Baron. But the thing about it is when you find somebody else that likes the dopey thing you like, that's fucking great. And there's not a greater feeling in the world than that. Like if I'm like, lately at the store, there's been a lot of guys coming in asking about Mazinger Z, and it makes me real fucking happy because they didn't
There has
air it.
been.
Yeah, there's been guys that's like, I was born in, like, my dad was military, so I was in Spain, so I watched Mazinger Z. Do you have Mazinger Z stuff? And I was like, yes, man, thank you for liking this. But like, being a nerd is something that should be inclusive. Like, it's fun to share what you love with other people that love it, especially when it's something that most people don't like.
Yeah.
However, the problem with this kind of thing, especially Funko Pops, is it's just like, it's made the club everything for everyone, so like none of it has meaning anymore. And Funko Pops are a great example of that because that is like the specific version of that for collecting.
Right.
Because what Funko Pops are, they're Funko Pop vinyls. And I hate this a lot because I collect soft vinyl figures that are kind of expensive. They're
Right,
like,
the
it's like,
Sofubies.
yeah, there's Sofubies, stuff by Marmot. It's mostly like Godzilla, giant robots, weird wrestler guys. You pay like
Really
100
popular in Japan.
Yes, they're expensive because you have to import them a lot of the time. It's like you spend like $130 and you get this thing that looks like it was made for $2 in Japan in the 70s. Like, but that's sort of the pastiche. Like, if you came in and saw my little shelf where I have all my Sofubies, you'd be like, look at all these dumbass toys.
Right.
They look like shit to most people, but I love them because they look so dopey. And also, I have like $700 of them, but that's 7 of them.
It also looks like an old Japanese man made them in his garage.
Yeah, they're very fun and niche, and they're not for everybody. But what Funko Pops are is they're like, it's a little vinyl toy that costs $10, and it's got every single pop culture thing that they can possibly get their hands on, and they make 1 billion of them, so everybody can buy 1 billion of them, and there's one that everybody likes, no matter what you like the Funko Pop exists, and you can buy tons of them, and you can feel like a collector because you see all the other people buying them up.
Right.
But the problem is with collecting, it kind of matters that the thing that you're purchasing is worth owning.
Exactly.
Funko Pops are so shittily made. Shittily's not a word. So poorly made.
Yeah,
They look like shit.
They do look like shit.
They're garbage.
They're small, like chibi style
Yeah.
characters, big heads, tiny bodies,
Yeah.
poorly painted, and just dark, soulless black
Yeah,
little beady
and they come in
eyes.
little boxes with a number on them to let you know how many you've bought, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And like, they're just awful, but they're these streamlined things that are like just mass appeal collectible with like, you can get Dory from Finding Nemo, or an Oompa Loompa from Willy Wonka, or Back to the Future's DeLorean, or
They got Disney, Marvel, DC. They even
Yeah.
okay,
Naruto, Mega Man, Street Fighter.
dude. Hold up, Mega Man, real quick.
Uh.
Here is a big example of how out of touch the companies are with the collectibles they're making as well. I am, as you listeners know, a huge Mega Man fan.
You play Mega Man?
I did play Mega Man. I played one Mega Man game.
Yeah,
And
it
all
was
the other
called
ones.
Megan,
Megan Man.
Man.
Yeah.
and it was about
It was called Megan's Man.
Megan's
and it was
Coming of age tale.
yes.
it's an adaptation of Transformers.
But
fun.
they made a pop vinyl of Mega Man, okay? Called Retro Mega Man.
Oh my god! I
and
forgot
guess
about
what?
this.
He was in black and white. He was a
Retro
black
Mega
and white
Man,
Mega Man.
guys.
Retro Mega Man,
Remember
guys.
black and white retro Mega Man?
Yeah. Remember Mega Man 1 on the NES, the black and white video game
Remember-
for the NES?
Remember black and white Mega Man, the 1940s
Don't
cartoon?
remember that.
'Cause
I
that's not a
remember
thing.
him being on NES.
Mega Man was a cereal back in the 42.
Do you-
Motherfucker.
Do you know what retro Mega Man looks like? He's fucking blue because
Yeah.
that's the colors that existed on the NES.
Yeah, and guess what? If you want to make the argument, well, Leon, they made Mega Man games for the original Game Boy. Yes, they did. But
He's
they
not
made other
called Game Boy Mega
yeah,
Man.
and then he's not called Game Boy Mega Man, and they've made other pop vinyls that are the Game Boy colors of characters, and guess what? They're green. They're
Yeah.
like that gray green that the Game Boy screen is.
Yeah, you know. Remember Game Boy?
Yeah. Remember Game Boy?
Remember playing the
and
Game Boy?
Yeah, so
Me
like this
neither.
is the Member Berries pop vinyl collectible, and Member Berries is a reference to South Park, which is hilarious. You should go watch those episodes; they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, pop vinyls are awful, and want to now take the next step in our long journey of rage towards what we usually talk about on EX Podcast, which is video games. Yeah. So how has this affected video games in your opinion, John?
Honestly, you know, I don't think video games have been hit as hard, though they have been hit.
Yes, I agree.
Because like there's something interesting about like nostalgia in video games, because we're gonna jump back to nerd culture. We're not talking about, you know, collectibles. We're not talking about we're talking about like what nerd culture does for video games.
Right.
And we work at a retro game store, as previously stated, like 4 times.
And a bunch of other episodes too.
And there's I used to think there was one thing that happened, but I learned recently there's 2 things that have happened, and one I don't like at all, and one I like very much. So retro game collecting is less niche than everything else. Like lots of people do it because video games are fun. Old games are fun. People like doing it, and people like going back and revisiting shit in their childhood. And like video games are something that like I truly believe is like a solid foundation for nostalgia. Like people
that's
actually
what I collect.
are.
That's what I enjoy.
Like
yeah.
like people come in and they're like, I remember Contra, and they'll you know say the Konami code to me, and I'll be like, I love this. I'm glad that you could see Contra and like remember and be happy.
Yeah.
That's great. I love Contra. Contra 2 is good. All Contra's pretty good. But I digress.
Someone's salty about some Contra over there.
The thing that's interesting about like the nostalgia for video games, especially like Super Nintendo, Nintendo, is there is a generation divided. Leon, I feel like I'm going to blindside you with this because I learned something new recently that is actually probably going to cheer you up. Like this is probably going to be like a bright thing.
Oh, okay, good. I'm really sad over
this. This is
here.
new development, but basically there's this group of kids that we call the YouTube generation. That are like these guys that are probably like 14 to 19 that like, you know, they were born in, oh, for fuck's sake, in 2003.
Yeah.
You can be 14. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
But like they're these guys that grew up like watching YouTube, watching guys our age be like, hey, I really love Gargoyles Quest 2 for NES. It's awesome.
Yeah,
and you should like look how fun it is. And they like record themselves playing it. Like Let's Play channels are incredibly popular. And what this does, especially for the retro game market, is it inflates it.
Right.
Because like all the little kids watching it are like, I want to be like that too. I want to be a collector. I want to be the guy that knows everything about video games.
Yes.
And like I want to go buy everything up. And something to consider is that like I consider myself actually part of this, though I'm a little older. Like my interest in it predates YouTube. Like I didn't get into it through Let's Plays. Like when Angry Video Game Nerd had like 3 videos, I started watching him and being like, oh, this is really interesting. But I was showed it by a friend of mine whose older brother had NES stuff. And I was like, this is very interesting. And then I learned about stuff, you know, through him. And I did watch these videos. But the problem is that like it inflates the collecting for like people that like are very serious about it.
Right.
And the main negative effect is it creates sort of this know-it-all aspect.
And
that
I have never money.
I have never sounded like a know-it-all in my entire life, especially not in this episode. But it sort of creates this like know-it-all aspect where everybody wants to be the king of retro games.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of a pain in the ass for us that we work in the store. Like the amount of like 16-year-olds come up and they're like, did you know that Mario used to be called Jumpman? I'm like, I did. I'm behind the counter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm behind the counter. I know that.
Like, leave me alone. Yeah. And you know, that's very irritating. And like Let's Play channels are like a whole other thing that started because like the bleed over of interest from the retro games have bled into like Let's Plays replacing people actually playing video games. They just want to talk about it and know what it is.
Right.
They'll want to be like, oh yeah, I played Elevator Action for fucking ever. It's the funniest game ever. It's so cool. I'm like, yeah, you've played it. He's like, no, I watched the Game Grumps play it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't play the game. Like,
yeah,
you didn't experience it. You watched someone else experience it and are claiming it as your own, which is sort of another nerd culture type standard, is like not actually experiencing the thing, but
just
like
wanting to be included. Yeah.
However,
I
learned something very pleasant the other day.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because I assumed that like most kids these days,
is this the attic kid?
This is the attic kid.
Okay, I know this.
You do know, you were there for that.
Yeah, I was there for that.
I used to think that like that's how most of these kids were getting into it. Whenever a kid would come in and start being annoying, you know, this is the I Hate Kids podcast. No, whenever a kid would start coming in and being like, old video games, I'd be like, great, another guy that like watched a bunch of people play video games on YouTube.
Yeah.
However, but like, what's very nice and is a genuine sense of nostalgia is that like the people that originally played NES are at the age where they are having kids, and the kids that they've had are old enough to, like this customer did and told me about, wander into the attic and find their dad's old NES.
Right.
And then they bring it down and it's a family moment, and that's great. And I really love that. Like,
that's like Mario 3.
Yeah, like that is like honestly like that's what I wish all nerd culture was like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now that sort of like outside of that, that's the thing that doesn't exist. Like your dad, like my dad put me on the couch when I was 3 and like was like, look, John, I've got the 3 VHS set of Star Wars and it's the last time they released it before they added stuff. Do you want to watch? And I'd be like, because my brain was still pudding.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, I would just be a little kid and be like, play the scenes with Yoda over and over and over again. Like that was me as a baby. I love Yoda. But like that sense of like the nostalgia being sort of like a beacon passed on is sort of gone, because now it's a cool kids club and not like it's grown from, we're jumping back into the entire concept of nerd culture, but it's grown from like sharing things with like a new generation of people, which is such a great thing, to just like, hey kid, like how many fucking Star Wars action figures do you have?
Yeah.
Do you have them all? Can you name them all? Do you know which one's the most expensive? It's Yak Face, idiot. If you didn't know that, you're a fake nerd.
Yeah.
Fucking moron.
I mean, like, and it's just, there's just so much saturation.
Yeah.
Too, and it's just like you can't. focus on one thing. It's just like you can't pick and choose. It's just like all media comes up so fast at rapid succession, like a machine gun at you.
Yeah.
Like even me, who I'm a huge gamer, I have trouble keeping up with games nowadays because it's like I finish this game and then another one comes out, and it's just like 7 games come out on the same day.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like a lot. And that's cool that people have options, but it's just like people feel the need to have to consume everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Like you have to know everything about everything, so you have to keep getting blasted in the face with new stuff that comes out. And this isn't unique to video games either.
Yeah.
And like what that does is it doesn't actually give anyone time to go back and experience the old thing.
That's true.
Experience the new thing.
Because it's like, why would
Yeah.
you go back and watch? This is my go-to thing because I'm very upset that I'm the only one that's watched this out of many people I know. It's like, why would you go back and watch a Kurosawa film when you can watch Fast 9?
Yeah.
And last year you watched Fast 8. And before that you watched Fast. It's like, and they come out so fast. It's like you can watch like like you're getting blasted in the face with stuff every year, every second. It's like you got 10 Marvel movies coming out this year.
Yep.
Why would you go back and
Christmas
watch?
time is now Star Wars time.
Yeah, why would you go back and watch like something that's old that's an actual why would you ever go back and watch old Star Wars when a new Star Wars is going to come out like every single year and eventually 2 times a year and eventually
Yep.
3 times a year? Why would you give a shit about the original thing?
Yeah.
Used to direct back then.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah, Seven Samurai will never be seen by people who are watching Fast 8 or whatever.
oh my god, just quick tangent. Okay, so Seven Samurai is unapologetically, undeniably the best movie ever made. If you come to me and say Citizen Kane's better, I will fight you.
Above my ass.
Citizen Kane's all right, but like there are fucking 7 character arcs in one film. I will fuck you up. And that got remade into The Magnificent Seven in the 60s, which was a cowboy movie that was pretty good. Not a great translation, but recently, like last year or 2 years ago, they did like a Michael Bay HD like awesome Hollywood remake of Magnificent Seven. I was gonna kill somebody. Straight up, like that was like low. I'm so glad that wasn't popular. I saw like one person I went to school with shipping characters, and I was about to crawl through the internet and pop out of their fucking computer like the girl from The Ring and just fucking rip their eyeballs out of their head. You're not allowed to watch movies anymore, you fucking ingrate.
Yeah, now
For
you're
God's
blind.
sake.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So speaking of movies, let's move on to our final topic of the evening, and that is our main topic.
Yeah, the reason this happened.
The reason that this happened. So just to give you listeners a little bit of background, we decided to do this because the Ready Player One trailer dropped
Yes.
just the other day. And because of reasons you're going to find out really soon, we felt the need to do this. And we're going to be talking about movies in general, but this is all, keep in mind, this is all, I guess, inspired by Ready Player One, which is a movie based off a book that came out about 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2011 or something.
Yeah.
Would you like me to summarize the book very briefly?
Yeah, can you talk about that?
Okay, I will spark notes this for you guys.
I decided to do this this episode because I walked in on John doing his little bit about Ready Player One, and
Dude, I
inspired me.
screamed a hole in the wall. So, Ready Player One is the reason the word masturbatory has entered my vocabulary.
Yes.
Because that's what it is. It is like the quintessential, like, this book came in Loot Crate, by the way, for a hot minute, which is like, is that dramatic
Which is
irony?
probably maybe like a like long con maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But what this book is this is a book. I'm going to tell you what the book is about before the book has in it, so to speak.
Yes.
Like the reference zone. The plot line of this book is that it is the post-apocalyptic future of like 2000 and like 25, 45, something near enough for you to think it's tangible.
You'll be alive during that time at some point. Yeah.
And everything blows dick. But there's this awesome, super rad virtual world you can go into, like Tron, and I'm not even jumping off with like Tron as a reference. But it's like this virtual world you can go into where anything is possible. You go in and it's the coolest thing ever. But
So cool.
the big twist is that the guy who made it, Geek Gamerton, Nerd Culturoni, Ultimo Cool Guyington, has died
King of Kings.
fucking idiot disease. But he's left behind his mega giga hyper nerd fortune of $1 gorillion. But the way that you get all the monkey money is that you have to beat his ultimate mega super cool video game in virtual world. And what I'm going to tell you now is not a joke.
Yep.
So
Fact.
here's the most amazing thing about this guy who made this virtual world.
He was born in the 80s.
The what?
He was born in the 1980s.
Oh, hey, fun fact. I was born in the 80s.
The 1980s, the most important time of human achievement.
The fun thing about the 80s is that it is the best time of all humankind.
Yeah, I mean, according to the first line of the movie trailer adaptation, the main character says, "I wish I was born in the 80s with all my heroes." They were, but no, he was born in the 80s and he loves everything from the 80s and he's the king of the 80s. So what he did is he made this ultimate hyper mega giga video game that you can only beat if you know the most geek and gamer culture. That's the plot of the book. So this kid who is not from the 80s, much like most people in the geek and gamer culture, he's not from the 80s, but he thinks they're so fucking cool, and he learned everything about the 80s, and he's so good about knowing pop culture references and being from the 80s and playing video games that he's gonna beat the video game. And nobody's beaten this. Like, it's been like 20 years. People are like, we just don't know enough about the 80s to beat this game. And like, the evil Microsoft Corporation is sending their like army of Funko Pop soldiers who are totally like fake nerds, and they are gonna try to beat the game, but they can't do it because they don't know all the lines from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There's a scene in this book where he'll get sent back to level 1 if he can't reenact an entire scene verbatim from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I didn't make that up. That's in the fucking book. And the main character,
the book just lists shit, by the way.
it just lists shit. It's so like the way this pans out is the kid's so good and he meets a gamer girl in the game and he gets like a best friend who's like kind of okay at the 80s, and then like he gets killed by Microsoft, and then the fucking they beat the game and they get the gamer fortune, and he comes out of the virtual world, and then like the girl gamer that he was with is like totally super hot and they make out in the book.
Yes, Ramona Flowers.
Yeah, there's even a manic pixie dream girl in it.
Yeah.
And it ends, they like make out and it's over. It's like, you know the most about the 80s? Let me suck your dick so hard it fucking comes off.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Eat it like linguine,
That's
dude.
the plot. And
Oh my
the
god.
whole book is so fucking full of completely irrelevant, nonsensical, look at the things that I know from the 80s.
Even the car that he drives.
Oh my, let me read. I'm going to read you motherfuckers an excerpt from this book. It's the main character arriving in the virtual world to some stupid event. I don't remember. It's
The fucking jack off Olympics.
it's hard to read when you go blind with rage. Because you need your eyes to see the words. But I'm just gonna read you guys an excerpt of like the main character arriving to do something super fucking awesome. And I did the little metal horns up when I said that, so you know I'm serious.
I got that from last podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was about to like ironically ask Grant for some thematic music, but I'm not gonna torture him like that.
Yeah.
So here's the excerpt. I made a big entrance when I arrived in my flying DeLorean, which I'd obtained by completing a Back to the Future quest on planet Zemeckis. Zemeckis is the last name of the man who directed the film Back to the Future, for those of you who don't know.
Yep.
Robert Zemeckis. The DeLorean came outfitted with a, in parentheses, non-functioning of course, flux capacitor, but I'd made several additions to its equipment and appearance. First, I'd installed an artificially intelligent onboard computer named Kit, purchased in an online auction of course, into the dashboard along with a matching red Knight Rider scanner just above the DeLorean's grille. Then I'd outfitted the car with an oscillion overthruster, a device that allowed it to travel through solid matter. And what that is, that's a reference to a thing that didn't make it into Ghostbusters because of budget stuff. That's something that what's his nuts? Oh, I always draw a blank. The Ghostbuster that's a crazy guy that directed it.
Was here, he could
This is an actor that I should know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
He's not Dan Aykroyd. God, it took me not Bill Murray. He's easy to remember. Dan Aykroyd, the less good Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray too.
So the oscillion overthruster, that's a reference to like something that didn't make it because that's a ludicrous thing to ask of a film in the 80s, but I digress. Finally, to complete my 80s super vehicle theme, I'd slapped a Ghostbusters logo on each of the DeLorean's gull-wing doors and then added a personalized plates that read Ecto 88. I'd only had it a few weeks now, but my time-traveling, ghost-busting, night-riding, matter-penetrating DeLorean had already become my avatar's trademark. That is, ladies and gentlemen, a single paragraph from an entire book that's like that.
Yep.
What the fuck indeed, Grant?
Don't hurt yourself.
That's the book. That's the whole book. It's him talking about that, how he jerks off to nerdy girls, and like being like, I know more about Springfield from The Simpsons than my own city, and I've watched like Godzilla, Gamera, and Star Blazers.
Didn't he like also talk about how he has like a fetish for like watching?
Yeah. Well, he was like, there's this great big passage that I don't want to torture any listeners with.
You can look it up yourself.
It's basically he just lists all the things that he researched. I'm putting air quotes around researched because that's idiotic to refer to watching pop culture shit as a research. That's so fucking stupid. You're not smart. You're not researching things, you dumbass. You could cure cancer. That's what research is for. Fuck. But like there's a part where he's talking about all the 80s music he listened to and how he would like go on YouTube and listen to like cute geeky girls cover 80s songs on ukulele because that's like totally his fetish and like not a weird insert by the author. But yeah, it's an entire book. And the entire point of the book seems to be like, I can name these things and that makes me cool and smart and girls want to blow me.
And the movie will be the same thing, but with more CG.
Yeah, one of my favorite, and by favorite I mean something that makes me want to go on a shooting spree, things in the trailer is very early in it. There's the silhouette of the Iron Giant next to what appears to either be a Ninja Turtle or maybe just like a generic ninja or like Snake Eyes. Yeah. The way they seem to be getting around all these like ridiculous reference copyrights is... It looks like Leonardo, but they're like silhouetting most of the characters maybe, and that's how they're planning on getting around
Harley
it.
Quinn and Deadpool in the trailer.
Yeah, and like Freddy Krueger jumps out and gets like blown away. The main character literally drives the DeLorean in the trailer of this movie.
Yeah, they actually got the rights to it somehow.
Well, Spielberg's directing it, and it's Warner Bros. So I think they have some of the rights to some of the shit they're shoehorning in there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting like vile burps that taste like sulfur because I'm like, there's literal like I'm turning into fucking Satan because I'm so mad.
Yeah.
But okay, I need to talk about something real quick.
Okay.
Because like I am a guy that like
you're a man.
I was born in 1992, guys. I was not born in the 80s like all of my heroes.
Like me. Your hero.
Like you. Yeah. My hero Liam.
Gamermang.
But here's sort of the problem is like we talked about Big Bang Theory making a punchline out of nerds, and like people just walk up to a nerd and see him in like a Flash shirt and be like, Sheldon. But now,
hey, Sheldon.
This for me, like I feel personally attacked as a straight white male person, cisgender.
As a cisgender,
Hollywood is
straight white
specifically
male
attacking me. Because the person in this film isn't a guy that's like a nerd and into all the stuff. It's a guy that like was born past all of it and like memorized all of it to be awesome. And I actually like a lot of this stuff.
Right.
And it's very frustrating to me that like I am that guy
in the trailer.
In the fucking trailer. Like they're making it like
he is a skinny white dude with
he's
brown
a skinny
hair.
white generic. I have blondish hair.
Oh yeah,
first
that's
of all.
true.
But
Sorry.
like they're
it's
making
dirty blonde.
Like I feel like I directly have been attacked. I feel personally attacked by this movie because like I love a lot of shit from the 80s and I love 80s music and like I love all the shit at Planet Fun. Like I love it, but I don't love it because it's like cool to know about it and like it's like so awesome and like I can totally ID all the references in the back of the Marvel films. Like I will spend money on stuff from the 80s because like I think it's really, I think it's really neat. I think the media itself is actually neat.
Yeah.
And that's the important difference here that makes me want to die. Because that's like, this is the nerd culture movie. Because the original media that's being referenced doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
What matters is there's a guy that can name all of the things from it.
Right. And what my big gripe with it too, to expand on that, is that there's not an original idea in there.
No, it's terrible.
Not. And even the world is just VR.
It's masturbatory. It's just like a guy being awesome by knowing all the things and in VR.
As an 80s kid and as a person who really loves, like, most of my stuff that I grew up with, was from the 80s and the early 90s. And that was sort of the age of like original ideas. Like, let's just like make this thing and see how it goes. And maybe Street Sharks won't fly and maybe Ninja Turtles will be more popular or whatever.
Well, those are both the 90s, Leon.
No, I said and early 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those are both the 90s, Leon.
Yeah. I was getting the 80s references.
Actually, let me mansplain to you.
Yeah. But no, like, honestly, it sucks because nowadays there's not that many original ideas.
Yeah.
You know, that's why video games is something that like I really enjoy, because you get a lot of original ideas popping up. And like with movies, I remember there was a movie, I don't know if it came out yet, I think it did. There's like a movie about monster trucks like being possessed by like alien space monsters.
Oh yeah, that's
Everyone
called
was like,
that's called Monster Truck.
yeah, it's called Monster Truck. And like everyone was like, that looks fucking stupid. And I was like, dude, I actually kind of want to check this out because it's like something that is not referencing Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Like it's maybe a shitty movie with a bunch of CG, but
Yeah.
it's an original idea. If that went in the 80s, people would be like, remember Monster Truck from the
Yeah.
80s? That
Yeah.
shit was sick. Like,
Though I have a horrible feeling deep down in my gut
Yeah.
that it might be a toy line from the 80s. Doesn't it seem like it? Like
It
you press
does,
down on a
actually.
truck and then it pops up and there's a
be
monster
a
in
sick
it.
toy.
Yeah, like some of the Ghostbusters toys were like that.
Yeah.
The real
I mean,
Ghostbusters toys.
Who knows? But
Not the real Ghostbusters. I wasn't being facetious by saying the real Ghostbusters. The cartoon was called The Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
There aren't fake Ghostbusters toys, just to clarify.
yeah, yeah. There's no spooky.
The
fake.
real Ghostbusters toys, not those girl Ghostbusters.
All right, so that's Ready Player One, pretty much in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
an ordeal.
a last note of me feeling personally attacked, I'm gonna look like a dipshit because of that movie.
You are gonna.
I'm gonna look like a
like a
dipshit,
dink, dude.
Because like, it's gonna be like, oh, you're just like that guy from Ready Player One. You learned all the things to be cool. I'm like, nah, man. I like He-Man.
Yeah.
Like I really do. Like,
Not anymore. You don't.
but the thing that also kills me about it is like it's another nerd culture thing, in that like it's like if you name all the things, people assume you like all the things, and
Yeah.
like. I don't think that Ferris Bueller's Day Off is that great of a movie. I watched it once and I'm kind of done, but I
Yeah.
really love He-Man.
Yeah.
But people are going to be like, this guy loves the 80s. Because
Yeah.
like just loving the 80s is the blanket term.
If you want a cult classic movie, go watch The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good movie. I like
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
But it sucks because it's like it turns liking niche things, and especially as a guy that likes stuff that's older, that wasn't born in that era, because I like it and not because it's old.
Yeah.
Like it turns like the genuine love of like an older piece of media that like you found and personally enjoy. It just turns it into like a meme and a joke. Like it turns it
Yeah.
into you trying to be in on pop culture.
Yeah, it's
And that
like the
sucks.
really, really nice, pure thing that everybody enjoys,
Yeah.
and then the big scary company coming in, grabbing it, and just mass producing it for like the fucking consumer to just
Yeah.
shove in their fucking eye sockets.
Like I didn't watch every episode of He-Man that they put on Netflix because I wanted to be able to name the shit and be like, oh yeah, it's so retro. It's like I watched it because like I'm like finally
Yeah.
a place where I can watch the He-Man
Yeah.
that like isn't
it's
an
like
illegal.
with the, it's like with the
something.com.
Voltron thing for Netflix. Like I didn't watch that shit because like I was like, oh, I have to know like all the ships on Tumblr. I was
Yeah.
like, I watched that shit with my dad when I was a kid, and
Yeah.
Netflix happened to do a great job with the reboot.
Yeah.
You know?
And it is.
So-
That's the other thing that it's like I'm gonna say it again because we sound so mean and we sound like
We
we're
do.
calling everybody fake nerds for liking stuff and not knowing about it, and like it's not an. But the thesis here is that it's not a knowledge contest.
It is not, yeah.
And that's-
just
it's
like the
like-
thing you want to like.
Yeah, you shouldn't look down on other people for not knowing about stuff.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't pretend to enjoy stuff just because everybody thinks it's cool to know about it.
Yeah.
Like you should find media that you genuinely enjoy
And inspires you.
and inspires you, yeah, and like not care what other people think. And then when you meet someone that also feels that way, like you can like build a relationship with another person based on the thing that you like.
Right.
Like it should be inclusive, but like making it this fucking contest of knowledge and making everything a trivia question and just like that, what was that thing with the Kessel Run that happened the other day?
Oh yeah,
The
a
fucking
guy who comes into our store kind of often.
Yeah, he's a nice
pretty
guy.
nice dude.
We like him.
We were talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, I was making a joke about
Boba Fett.
I was making a joke about the Han Solo movie.
Oh yeah, that was
I think
funny.
is very stupid.
Yeah.
I watched the Red Letter Media video where they were going to guess what happened in it, and it was really funny. And one of their ideas
great.
was that the Kessel Run, which is something that's mentioned in the first film as a way to like describe how cool the Millennium Falcon is. They're thinking that the Kessel Run is going to be a thing that happens in the movie, and their pitch was that it's a space race, which is stupid and hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was laughing at that concept and making fun of it, and this guy's like, the Kessel Run isn't a race, it's a space of distance, and the thing that's important about it is how much distance you pass through. Like parsecs is a measurement of distance actually. So like it's not a space race, it's the thing that makes it like your shit better is like how much space you can
What's
compress.
like the fucking definition of race? Like getting from one point to another point faster than somebody else?
It doesn't even matter like what I was talking about, but like the fact that a guy came up to me and was like, parsecs are a measurement of distance. If you read the fucking Wikipedia article about the Kessel Run, it's just
Wikipedia.
like, man, fuck off. Like, that's all there is to it. It's just like, fuck off. Like, it's that's how I describe all of it.
Yeah.
Like, watching the trailer for Ready Player One is the only time, like, I've watched trailers and been like, that movie looks bad. I watched the trailer for Ready Player One. I said, man, could you fuck off?
Yeah.
Like, just fuck off with this.
Yeah.
Like, I stop making this like this.
Yeah, go do
it's
something
supposed
else.
to be fun.
Go to your room.
It's supposed to be like a thing that you enjoy, but like,
Right.
oh, did you know that you don't know the most about nerds? You work at Planet Fun. You owe the public. You're responsible.
Yep.
It's your job to know
Yep.
that Klingons are not from Star Wars.
Yep.
We put
And you might experience this, like, it's in any like circle of people that are into this kind of stuff too, like, which is now most people.
Yeah, like most people are like this now, where it's just like if you make a joke that like isn't, you don't know everything about a thing, or like you make a joke at the expense of like the fucking canon of Star Wars, people will be like, idiot.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the culture now.
Yeah.
It's like you're not in the fucking cool club anymore. Like, you have to sell your Funko Pops, man. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta like you gotta get rid of your Boba Fett dressed as Darth Vader shirt. Like, your Predator fighting Boba Fett fucking Indominus Rex ass, Bazinga looking ass. Fuck you.
looking ass.
It's just, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not
I understand.
fun.
It is not.
It's not.
And the guy at the store missed a golden opportunity, man. Like Kessel Run, if we're talking about like space runs and stuff, shit, you just had Cannonball Run in space.
Yeah,
Cannonball
I
Run in
mean-
space. Maybe that's what the Han Solo movie will be. I'm not going to watch it.
Complete no.
So, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
another quick example of like nerd culture being like that. Sorry to keep like jumping in, but I keep
okay.
remembering great anecdotes.
Yeah.
Is I've like another product of nerd culture is that it's sort of cultured dudes that like actually do like the thing to an extreme degree to be extreme fucking cock squeezes that are insufferable to talk to about stuff. Because as
they are
previously
tough
stated,
to talk to, man.
I hate Star Wars Episode 7.
You do.
I love every actor in it. The score is actually kind of forgettable. Visually, it's beautiful. I like the concept, but I feel like it was a bad film, or a mediocre film at best.
Yeah, on a Star Wars scale, a bad film. On a sci-fi film, a mediocre film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's fine. But the thing is like,
It's just fine.
I was talking about how I don't like this movie. And I was talking about like dumb things that I thought were like goofy and kind of like the sort of idea that we were talking about earlier of where like it's referencing a thing without actually like caring to like think about the other thing.
There's
And-
no caretaking involved.
Yeah, and the subject matter that I was referencing was the fact that like Han Solo and Princess Leia named their son Ben after Obi-Wan Kenobi's fake name from the original Star Wars film.
Yeah, it's not even his real fucking name.
And I was like, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Because first of all, Han Solo is in like maybe like an hour of footage, or not an hour of footage, but like maybe he crossed paths like a total of hour of footage with Obi-Wan. Like they were
did
in the
not
movie at the same time.
interact much.
They had like 6 conversations.
Yeah.
And my roommate, who passionately loves Star Wars, was like, well, the reason he named that, it makes sense because Obi-Wan was like his mentor. Right. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, listen, you don't get Star Wars. You don't understand. See, like in the film, Han Solo was like, I don't believe in the Force. But then Obi-Wan was like, but the Force is real. And his perspective was changed in Episode 4. And that really affected Han Solo. And because of that, he remembered that and named his son Ben after Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm just like, no.
Bruh.
You are creating, and this is the thing that will trigger every single fucking fanboy nerd. They will get furious if you say that. I'm like, I feel like you're creating subtext.
Yeah.
You're making something up by like and his response to this was like, you don't even remember Star Wars. I went and saw Episode 7 6 times. Like, you don't remember Star Wars. And I'm just like, you paid $20 6 times to watch a mediocre movie, and you're trying to tell me that you're smarter than me because of that?
Yeah.
I think you might be an idiot. Additionally, like, you're just like you spent so much time like forcing this thing to be good that you like because you have to know so much more than everybody else because everybody needs to know the most. And since you were there at the beginning, you have to know the most because you're the original nerd. All these other guys are just fakers. So like you just start making shit up. And like it's like the reason that General Leia Organa's army was called the Resistance, even though they weren't resisting anything and they were the main force of the Empire. If you look on the Star Wars Episode 7 webpage, they say that she's actually not affiliated with the space government. So she got to name herself that because she's resisting all the other oppressing forces and fighting on her own. That's a true thing that I read in an article on crack.com titled dumb questions about movies that have like totally been answered. And I'm like, hey buddy, if they didn't answer it in the fucking movie, they didn't fucking answer it, you asinine dipshit. Like, you egregiously moronic bastard. If you need supplementary material to make the thing good, the thing's not good.
Yeah.
Crack has gone downhill in the past years.
Yeah, and I'm not going to start ragging on Cracked. I'm not going to start ragging on like Star Wars specifically, but like there's so much shit like that with like all stuff because that's nerd culture. It's like I got like that's the other side. It's either I'm looking at Boba Fett and going, "Whoa, Boba Fett," or like I'm looking at Boba Fett and being like, in the comic book, Boba Fett meets Predator and shakes his hand vigorously. Boba Fett states that his flamethrower is activated by a button inside of his helmet that he presses with his tongue, and so when his helmet got knocked off, that's why he can't use his flamethrower. It's just like, buddy. Fuck off. The quality control of media is gone because you either like just point and laugh like a moron or you make up a reason for it to be good.
My least favorite thing about Krylo Ben and speaking of like quality control is that they intentionally, I don't know if any of you listeners have seen this yet, but in Star Wars Episode 7, Kylo gets slashed in the face by a lightsaber and doesn't get killed, but he gets a big scar down the center of his face.
It's like huge and like across his nose.
Yeah, it's like huge and like it like splits his face down the center essentially.
Yeah, it's a pretty good anime cut.
It's a good anime cut, but they moved it in the new movie coming out.
So it looks like
moved
Anakin's.
the scar. So it looks like Anakin's. It looks more like cooler, I guess. They didn't like how it looked on him like on a normal scene or whatever. But here's the thing about scars is they don't move. And also,
I've heard that actually.
Yeah, they don't move. And also, like, you really, I mean, I'm not even a big Star Wars fan, but like, that is really just showing that you don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah, it just doesn't matter. Like,
you don't give a
nothing.
Fuck. It's just like
matters.
That is a permanent wound on like a person, you know. And they could, if they didn't want the scar on his face anymore, they could have been like, oh, okay, well, we'll use some fucking Jedi Force powers and get rid of it or whatever. Invent some shit.
It's just like that's a good
or you just wear the mask the whole time.
And that's because
it's cool.
Yeah, we're shitting on Star Wars a lot because it's a great point of reference to talk about nerd culture. But it's like the attention to detail just like doesn't matter anymore. Like actually composing a unique narrative in a film or I could go on about that forever, but like just like the effort doesn't need to be there as long as you have something people can either like remember and like the sense of inclusion makes them enjoy it, or like they can see it and then like learn the new thing about it, and then like their knowledge like makes them better than other people.
Right.
And that's nerd culture.
Yep.
And like when you know the most things, you buy the most Funko Pops because you're the one that knows that they're rare and you're the best collectible guy. You're the guy that collects the most because look how I collect boy.
Yeah.
Like
collect boy.
Yeah, it's just like I'm the best collector because I have the best things, but it's like really you're being capitalized on because people are making media that just is the most half-assed, phoned-in, mediocre, whatever shit.
Yeah.
And you're buying into it because you want to be the king of it.
Yeah.
Because it's all referencing stuff that you know because you're smarter than everyone else. But at the end of the day,
and
just want to watch my show, damn it.
And earlier, I just remembered earlier in our conversation, I like mentioned during loot crates, I mentioned the Zelda loot crate, but I never got to bring that up. They tried to release a Zelda Breath of the Wild loot crate to capitalize on Breath of the Wild being like a fucking amazing video game.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you haven't played it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm not exaggerating. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's good.
But anyways, they released a loot crate and it was wilderness themed, and you got like fucking trail mix and like a grass like notepad and shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like it was just a bunch of shit like that. And I'm like, wow, this is a really good summary of what Loot Crate does.
Yeah, it's just like I hope that for Planet of the Apes,
you want some fucking
14,
bear scat?
They released the Gorilla Crate, and you open it up and it's got like a fucking monkey mask and like 3 bananas and a turd for you to throw.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So John, I know you probably have no more energy in your soul.
I'm a little lightheaded, but I'm ready to kill still.
Yeah, good. But you do you have any closing statements to help our listeners be free of their mortal coil? How can I, as a geeky gamer boy, be aware of media screwing me? What steps can I take?
Well, I'm gonna try to like spin this into being positive because I just like screamed so much and shit on so many people.
Yeah.
Because like nerd culture is it's the most popular thing.
I mean,
ever
you don't
right
need
now.
to worry about shitting on people because like after Jen shat on Melee in our first episode, I don't have any more listeners. So.
Dude, there's a Melee fan base. I shit on everyone.
Yeah.
I just shit on like people that enjoy things.
Yeah.
I just said that you're dumb for liking it.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, spin this into a positive web.
Nerd culture is not a thing. If you're going to talk about being a nerd, if you're going to talk about, first of all, the word culture, putting that behind the word nerd is just offensive.
Yes.
But like, being a nerd isn't something that you need to like toot your horn about. You don't need to be like a geeky guy. If someone calls you a nerd, you can either say thank you or that's mean. But like, what's important is that like, whatever media you're absorbing, you don't enjoy it just because it has a bunch of things in it that you recognize. Like, you need to make sure that you're like distancing yourself from the hype culture that exists with every big release, every Marvel film, like everything Disney puts out, like every big thing. It's very easy to get swept up in this culture that wants to hype everything up and say it's the greatest thing ever, and make you watch it 4 times and say you're the coolest because you watched it the most times and you have the most t-shirt. Like, actually consider what you like. Actually consider what you enjoy. What are your hobbies?
Yeah.
For fucking instance. Like like what is your identity as a human, you know? Like maybe like find your favorite thing about something in this giant pop culture blanket. Grab onto that thread and follow it and see if you can find something more that you like that's unique. Because if you do that, like it's important to like enjoy things not because you're part of a club, but because you actually enjoy them.
Right.
You know, like don't buy the first issue of a comic book because everybody says it's the best comic ever, and then stop reading it. Because what is that? Like, find something you like.
Yeah.
Follow the thing you like. And when you find something that you like and you can really get behind, you learn about it naturally because you'll absorb the media through like enjoying it, not through pop culture trivia.
Right.
And or literally studying it. What is your damage? And when you do that, like when you find things that are like niche that you enjoy that you can keep to yourself, there are 2 things to remember. 1, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Enjoy it yourself. It's not a contest. 2, if someone talks about it with you, make sure that you're enjoying the conversation and sharing things, not trying to one-up each other.
Right.
That's honestly like that's just where I'm at right now.
Yeah, the biggest dick contest is no fun.
It's awful. Like, and it's been a thing that has plagued like being a nerd. Like, I'm talking like pre-nerd culture. Like collectors will try to be like, I have the most valuable collection. I'm like, you do, but you're gonna die and you have no family, and then all that storage locker that's all your shits and is gonna get sold, and then you're never gonna have existed. And are you happy because of that?
Damn.
Like, maybe you should make a friend and you should play with your G.I. Joes together, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you like there's so much more to like sharing, and like people that want to learn about things, like don't be like you're an idiot for not knowing. Like, share it with them.
These things are there to make life richer, not make life inclusive.
Yeah.
You know?
Nobody's a fake nerd, but like don't pretend to enjoy things to be included. That's what I'm trying to say here, because it sounds like I'm calling everybody fake nerds, but like just don't get hyped about things to be included, and don't like name things to validate yourself as somebody who likes a thing. Just like the thing and shut up, man.
Yeah. And if you're pissed off right now, you're missing the point.
Yeah, you're missing the point. Because we like, chances are we like the same shit as you.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't, and I'll make fun of it. But you should be able to make fun of it too, because that's what you do when you actually enjoy stuff.
Exactly.
That's what nerd culture is, making fun of shit.
Being bullied. That's nerd culture.
Yeah, get bullied.
You're welcome, everybody. I've just bullied you for probably like 2 hours. Now you know what it's like to be a fucking nerd. You pussy.
Yeah. All right. So before we go, John, can you tell us where can we find more out about you? Just
About
in case
me?
people want to know where to find you to kill you.
Well, I have a web comic called Bone Men. The first chapter is available on www.bonemen.smackjeeves.com, and it is a comic that is sort of a satire on high fantasy. It's more about like basically the idea
High
is
fantasy, be original, John.
Oh
Shit.
yeah. Well, nobody quips in it, so
Oh well, there you go. That's at least not. It's not a Marvel film.
yeah. There's lots of shalls in it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Good. Thou shall.
cur. But yeah, it's basically like a play on like the stereotypical guys in like Conan and other stuff like that. Like they're always chopping little skeletons in half that just don't matter. So the idea is to create like a sympathetic narrative for like skeleton guys and what's going on with them. It's cute. It's tongue in cheek. But yeah, it's also available on Comixology if you want to throw me $4. And
$4, dude.
yeah, for a digital comic.
So expensive.
Um,
I bought your physical copy for $10 though.
yeah, I signed it. I drew a little Trombone on the back.
Yay.
But yeah, it's
Cute.
It's available on a few platforms. You can follow me on Twitter at John P. Golden. I'm on Instagram, also John P. Golden. And I think I have a Tumblr that's sometimes active.
When you feel like it.
It's johnpgolden.tumblr.com, and you can see my drawings of He-Man guys.
Woo!
'Cause I like them, and I'm trying to draw every single toy from the original line.
It's going pretty well.
sans
You're about
vehicles.
halfway through, right?
Yeah, there are a lot. I'm doing Princesses of Power too.
Cool.
And they're tough to draw because most of them have like the same body mold. So I
Yeah.
gotta take a lot of creative liberty.
Cool. Awesome.
You two talking with your Instagrams and your Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Twits
me.
and
I'm a
Insties.
fucking millennial asshole that just wants
Yeah.
health care and a job.
Oh, millennials, am I right?
Yeah,
All
make
right.
me king of the corporation immediately. I'm
What
owed
even
it.
is a fucking millennial? All right, so, well, anyways, yeah, we'll check you out, John. This has been another riveting episode of EX Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I can't thank our listeners enough. Your support has been amazing and inspiring. You can find more EX podcasts at choosemyownadventure.com /EXP, or just go check out that website. It's a really cool website. It's cmoapodcast.com. That's my other project I'm working on. You can also find us on Facebook, SoundCloud, or iTunes. Comment and rate us. Let us know what you think. We want to have a dialogue with you. We're still a pretty young podcast, so we haven't got a lot of feedback, and we'd like to know what you think about this emergency PSA and other topics in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. And if you want to like leave us a rating, even if it's bad, like it's fine. I don't give a shit if you don't like me. Let's just talk about it, and then
Yeah.
I can just cry on my own.
It's okay
time.
if you don't like it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Don't pretend to just to be included.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I feed on the negative. I'd like to thank Grant, our sound man. Also, Michael Fox. He does our intro and outro music. You can find him on Ambassador Fox at SoundCloud. I'd also like to thank John for joining us today and screaming into the microphone.
You are welcome.
You can find more about Grant on socktosound.com. And also, don't forget to check out Michael Fox's stuff. He does stuff on SoundCloud, but he has some other projects coming up that we'll talk about in the future.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And finally, I just want to also remind you guys that on Choose My Own Adventure podcast, my buddy Mark, he's the main dude there, remember to go on and vote on Choose My Adventure podcast, because we do a cool thing where you get to vote on what happens to the players. And even John's been a guest on that episode.
Yeah,
a
I
few
almost lost
episodes.
my voice last time.
Yeah, it's a really good time, so check it out. And with that, I leave you with a friendly additional PSA. The more you eat, the harder you are to kidnap, so stay safe and eat pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like the things you like. You'll be surprised what you still like if you shut up about it.
There you go.
That's my closing statement.
All right.
I love you. Come over to my house. Watch Red Baron.
Yeah. All right, kitty cats. Thank you for joining us. Woo! All right. That's that, Grant.